superstar, Dr. Laura Murillo. Well, I'm going to have to keep coming to these. I've been called Wonder Woman and Superstar, so that's the way it goes. I just hope University of Houston never finds out that I dropped college algebra 3 times and I can still stand here representing them. I know there are a couple of you in here who did the same thing, so don't laugh too much. You know who you are, and they know who you are too. But my congratulations to the 100. I want you to stand up if you're receiving one of these great awards. Please stand so we can recognize you. Congratulations to the University of Houston alums. Let me begin, if you can't see by the smile on my face, how much I just love the University of Houston. I want to thank Mike, Eloise, and the entire University of Houston staff for giving me the opportunity to stand before you today. I worked at the University of Houston for 15 phenomenal years and earned 3 degrees from the University of Houston, so have spent most of my life at the University of Houston, and I am so proud of the success that the university has had, most specifically over the last few years under the leadership of Dr. Renu Couture and an outstanding staff. So our thanks and applause for making University of Houston Cougars proud. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, if you look at my bio, it seems impressive, I suppose, but the truth is that I stand before you because of 3 things: people, passion, and persistence. And I know my friend Bob Charlet there, who's recently arrived to Houston, Texas, will tell you I'm probably one of the most persistent people he's met since he's arrived at the Houston Business Journal here. But I learned that from 2 people. My immigrant parents who came here as teenagers and crossed the Rio Grande as immigrants with no money, a 2nd grade education, a hope and a dream. And they came here and had 9 children. I'm the youngest of 9, as I'd like to say, the absolute favorite of 9. And I saw my father work as a laborer, earning 50 cents an hour, until he ultimately opened up a Mexican restaurant that still stands today. And I began working at the age of 10. And it was there that I learned the importance of hard work. And I learned that what I loved to do was to help people. And that even though my mother could not speak English unless it was convenient for her, or if she was listening to me talk on the phone and then knew all my business. But I learned from this 4'8" woman who was fair-skinned like Eloise with colored eyes that she had a huge heart for helping. And from my 6'5", tall, dark, and handsome father, I learned how to work hard. And I worked through high school in the East End, went to Austin High School, go Mustangs. And then, during this time, I remember a teacher said, "You have to go to college." And I applied because she insisted on it. And when I was accepted into Harvard, Stanford, and Yale, and I went to my parents, who were very traditional Mexican Americans, my mother said, "What? You want to do what?" Well, actually, she said, "What? You want to do what?" And I said, "I want to go to college." And she said, oh my gosh, but you said jail. I don't want my daughter to go to jail." I said, no, not jail, Yale, it's a school. It's a marketing nightmare among Hispanics, that Yale, jail. So I said, no, it's a school, it's college. And then my father, being the true Mexican that he was, he said, "Does that mean you have to sleep there?" And I said, "Well, yes." And he said, "Well, okay, you want to go to school?" I said, "Yes, I want to go to school, and my teacher said I should go here." He said, "Well, no, daughter of mine, is not sleeping at home. So if you want to go to school, you pick any school in this city. And by the way, in case the school stuff doesn't work out, you're going to work. So I had 3 jobs. 3 jobs. Went to school full time and elected to go to the place I was intended to go, the University of Houston. You can clap. And it was the people at the University of Houston that positioned me today. People like Nancy Clark, who's here, that so many of you know, who worked so hard to teach me that people can make a difference. And I spent 15 phenomenal years at the University of Houston and went on to get a master's. And I remember going back to my mother and saying, I want a PhD. I want to go and get a doctorate. And my mother just was so worried about me. And she looked and she said, I don't want to tell you how to run your life. But absolutely she did. She said, but maybe you need a different job. And I said, why do I need a different job? I love my job. She said, well, they keep sending you back to school. And I said, no. I said, I want to be that 1% of Latinos, Hispanics in this country with a doctorate. And she said, if that's what you want, I'll support you. Do it. So I went to school full time. I worked at the University of Houston full time. I was 5.5 months pregnant. Nancy remembers, she thought I was just eating too many desserts, but I was actually pregnant. And went to school full time, worked school full time, had an A average, was on my merry way to this doctorate, and then someone says, comprehensive statistical analysis class, something or another, and it was math and letters and all kinds. I said, no. But you know what? I'm not the smartest person. And I think for most University of Houston people underestimate us. They underestimate the University of Houston, and they underestimate graduates and alums of the University of Houston. And while I knew I was not the smartest, I knew that I would be persistent. I knew I had the passion, and I would surround myself with the right people to earn that doctorate. And I remember my colleagues in class, who mostly were full-time students, said, that's okay, Laura, you can take the class again. And because God would have it this way, my mother suffered a massive heart attack my last semester at the University of Houston. And that last semester, I was promoted to major gifts and advancement at the University of Houston. And I don't know what happened. I ended up pregnant with a second child. And it was very stressful. So much so that one day I was walking out of the house and I thought, I'm forgetting something. What am I forgetting? Diaper bag, books, bag, baby, food, let's go. And I was standing there in a slip. I forgot to put on a skirt. And so that's when I knew I was a bit over my head. But when I got the call that my mother had suffered this massive heart attack and that I was preparing for the statistical analysis exam, my professors at the University of Houston were so gracious and thoughtful. They sent me a medical release form to take off a semester, to focus on my family. And I think as entrepreneurs, as business owners, you often are challenged to make decisions, and they really determine your destiny. And while it was easy for me to sign that medical release form, I knew that my parents would want me to keep moving forward. And I studied in that ICU waiting room, and when others had studied 2 or 3 hours as part of our study group, I stayed until the University of Houston Library closed at 10 o'clock at night. And when the results came back, and as my mother was in the ICU, and the doctors told me she had 3 days to live because her arteries were blocked 95%. And I was pregnant, very pregnant, working, going to school, and I thought I couldn't anymore. It was the University of Houston that said, yes, you can. We are here to get you through this. And I sat in that waiting room, and I knew in my heart that my 4'6" mother would see me graduate, and I knew that she would want me to continue moving forward on my journey to graduate from the University of Houston with a doctorate degree. I took my exam. I studied. I had Post-its all over the house. And for those of you who are a little older, there's something called a cassette recorder, and you put cassettes in and you listen to notes. And for those of you who can appreciate listening to this over and over, because I wanted to pass that comprehensive statistical analysis exam, I received a call from the dean. He said, Laura, got some bad news. We changed the test to make it harder. Of course they did. I was taking the test. You got to make it harder. They said, of the 40 of you who took the exam, only 4 passed. And I knew I was going to drop that 10-pound, 3-ounce baby right there. And he said, congratulations, you passed. That's where you clap. Hello. And I'm happy to say that once he told me this, I said, would you please check my Social Security number to make sure it was me? He said, don't worry, we checked 3 times. It's you, you passed, congratulations. And I'm happy to say that my mother was able to see me cross the stage at the University of Houston. So people, passion, and persistence have allowed me the opportunity to stand before you today with many challenges and obstacles, including that of running the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which is about to close its doors, when I left my phenomenal job in the Texas Medical Center as an executive reporting to the CEO. And I think as entrepreneurs, just like my father was, we must take risk. And I will say that this chamber has become the largest in the country with some phenomenal partners, including the University of Houston. But I've not done it alone. It's been through phenomenal people, through great passion and persistence. So to the University of Houston for this and so much more, my thanks for investing in me. Thank you. Thank you. Go Cougars. All right. Thank you very much.